This is our inaugural event, and I know already we're experiencing some technical difficulties with our streaming service. So we're going to give people a few minutes to maybe head over to Facebook Live, where we should see this thing publishing.
Oh, I see you. I'm watching on Facebook Live right now. It's a little delayed, but it's the experience is there nonetheless.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Well, at least somebody out there is getting that. So you may be wondering what that noise was coming out from right field, and he sort of blew through the introduction.
Sorry.
That's okay. I know you're kind of new to this.
Stepped on this. What do you mean I'm new? You just said it was the first ever podcast.
It is. So I imagine this thing is going to be full of all kinds of mistakes. But anyway, I'm Josh Parrison, and I'm lead pastor at Curtis Lake Church. And I'd like to introduce to you a good friend of mine, Brett Williams. Hello, Brett.
How's it going?
I'm doing all right.
I just came in.
Yeah, I'm
just now. I wasn't here 20 seconds ago. That wasn't me.
I did not think for a moment that this was ever going to be, without some surprises. As long as Brett Williams,
they can see me right through underneath. This is like harkening back to my radio days.
Yes.
I love this thing.
In fact, that's a big part of the reason why we have Brett here today with us, because we wanted to make sure that we got this thing off the ground with few, if any, mistakes. And
I'm glad I could be here to help.
I know one quasi-professional former radio talent here, Brett Williams, and so we expected that we could ride his shoulders to victory.
Let's go back to quasi.
The quasi.
That paid the bills. I'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and just for folks at home to know, when we were in the mad dash up to going live, I was absolutely non-instrumental in making any of this happen. So I'm happy to have done nothing. It's a gift.
It is, yes. Brett neither ruined nor did he offer his services. In fact, we might even have, tempted him to, give us a hand, and he was too busy looking for.
I believe I was
for pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I got to see what coupons I have for Walgreens. Going through my mail, in my Hotmail, all the important things.
Nice. So anyway, let's round out the introduction here. So this is Brett Williams, and I don't know if we ever found a picture of your family.
I have a photo, but I don't know how to.
Oh, okay.
Where do I share this?
Well, we were making fun of you for the idea of holding it up to the camera.
And
so
now all of a sudden, that seems like the most reasonable way to share this beautiful family photo I have, right? And so we're going to go all high tech, Josh.
Okay.
And let you know, there's my, I don't know how to do this.
No, that's perfect.
This is what they do on Fallon, right?
That's right.
Only usually they print the photo and put it on a piece of foam core.
Right.
And put it on a little X and say, Johnny, zoom in on this.
Yeah. So
that's only because they can't fire the union photographer. So
right. Yeah, we don't have that.
They have to give him something to do.
Yeah. So that's Brett's beautiful family. I'm sure they're tuning in.
They're on the edge. Gabe is out here.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's middle school mayhem tonight.
Right.
And I'm certain right now that my 7-year-old is glued to the screen watching us.
Absolutely. Daddy's famous again. Also joining us on the call all the way from down in Florida is our good old friend, and by old, I don't mean old in age, of course. I mean, that we have been friends for quite a long time, and that is Marisa Stam. Hello, Marisa.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, well, Marisa, thank you so much for not walking all over my introduction of you. So how many years have you been a professional radio talent?
Hey, I have a degree in communications,
That's true.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, you too?
Oh, yeah.
You have
98.
So this is like the gathering of people with communications degrees that don't necessarily use them.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you out there, you may not be aware of this, but we are in Global Outreach Month. So throughout the month of May, our podcasts here are going to largely have kind of this emphasis on global outreach. Big part of the reason why we have Marisa joining us here. And what's cool about this is Marisa is really the person that helped get us off the ground with the way global outreach kind of happens at Curtis Lake Church. It was a number of years ago now. But Marisa really, really led the charge with amazing passion and tenacity. And global outreach became an extremely important part of the DNA of Curtis Lake Church. And then right on her heels, after God called her away to something new that she'll talk about some tonight, Brett actually served as our global outreach director for a period of time as well. And once he got sick of that, then he decided to move on to his current venture, wrestling kids at the Sanford Performing Arts Center.
There you go.
So, so it's so good to have both of you guys on the call tonight. We're going to talk a bit. I want to look at just a little bit of a rehash of what we talked about on Sunday in the message, and so we'll look at a few Bible verses and then maybe just share a little bit about that. But really, I want for Brett and Marisa to just share from their heart about what God's done in their lives, what God's doing in their lives. They've been really integral in what global outreach means at Curtis Lake Church, but I know that largely comes out of their own individual experience, and so looking forward to hearing some of those stories. And then at some point when we feel like we need a break, we're gonna pause, and we've got a video that we're gonna share with you, the Cooking with Patty and Mary show.
Oh,
yes. So that's going to be a feature throughout the month. We're going to be sharing some wonderful recipes from around the world. So, I'm going to want to stay tuned for that.
man, if I'd known, I would have had making toast with Brett, because I am a master at certain foods around the house. Not many, but toast is, I feel like I could have a segment.
That's great. Marisa, what are you good at cooking at?
Well, since Brett took toast, I guess I made a salad tonight, which is pretty exciting.
Very nice. Yes.
Little
You
Mediterranean.
didn't cook the lettuce too long, I hope.
It was mostly cucumbers, tomatoes, onions, and Greek olives.
Okay. Great. All right. And Shayna, I don't know if we have a picture of Marissa's family. I saw this beautiful picture, so if we have that, let's show. We don't. All right.
Yeah, but if you have a computer, you can turn it around, Marissa.
Yeah. So, Marissa, if you could just take a selfie of, the picture on your...
Or just have your family come into the room and stand around you.
Phone. Wait, hold on. I can make it happen.
Okay.
I can totally make it happen.
This podcast could not
Here, are you ready?
Better.
This is, I'm watching the view count. We're up to 17,000.
Oh, look at them.
There we are. Our family grew
They
recently.
Did. Yeah.
There we are. They grew in stature and number.
Yes, they did.
My goodness.
And I don't know if you saw that, Brett. It's a little hard to pick out from Marissa's picture there, but Lucas appears to have a mullet.
This is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at Luke, and I feel like it might be time to stop feeding him. It's unless
he's
you.
officially taller than Aaron.
He's
officially.
He's a tall fella. Wow. And at what point can you move him off of the Greek salads that you make? Is that what you're making?
He's just 16, so I don't think he's done.
Wow. Well, listen. Time to make higher doors, apparently, and good luck with the construction costs, because lumber is through the roof right now.
It is. So, Marisa, why don't we start with you? Why don't you share with us kind of an update? When you were up here recently with some of your family, we spent what, 4 or 5 hours, I think, in a room, you, me, and Shayna and Sharon, for a little while until she decided to leave. But I was really overwhelmed at the heart that you have for what you're doing, and just the direction that you're taking this wonderful organization that you have the privilege of leading. So why don't you just kind of share with us what's going on, maybe some of the changes. I know there's a lot of people that are listening that are familiar with Salamta. Some may not be, but I think there's a lot of great stories coming out of there. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff that's going on right now with Salamta. I mean, there have certainly been challenges, right? COVID has been a challenge, I think, for all of us, but we've had these extraordinary opportunities in the middle of it. And God has just been so faithful over and over and over again from bringing us extraordinary team members who are really rounding out our team in Ethiopia and on the U.S. side. We've been able to develop a virtual program as a result of COVID that's serving our kids and families just so beautifully. We were able to put some infrastructure into place for hotspots and new technology and things that allow us to do virtual English classes and mentor programs for our kids who are career ready and our kids who are preparing for college. We've been able to take people on virtual trips. Obviously, we haven't been able to travel over for a while, and that's still on hold because there is a do not travel order right now to Ethiopia that was issued by the State Department a couple of weeks ago. So our summer travel is currently postponed, but we'll see where that goes. But there have been so many incredible blessings that have happened, even in the middle of really hard things. Our kids are growing up from our first generation of Forever Families and launching into independence, graduating from university, starting their own families. So it's just been amazing to watch all of that unfold. And then in 2019, I'm sorry, yeah, that was right, 2019, we were able to bring 20 new children into Salamta, and as a result, have established 2 new Forever Families. So they've started our second generation. Hopefully I'll have the opportunity to introduce you guys to a few of our kids tonight. There's some good stories that have come out of all that, and the way that God brought them to us has been pretty remarkable. But we're looking forward to continuing to grow our Forever Family program by 2 homes per year. So that means that hopefully this July, we will be able to receive up to 20 new children. Our Kids Center is just opening up. We have a new mom that just moved in recently, and we are bringing another mom on board who will help us establish the 2 next Forever Family homes. So lots of exciting things there. We also just updated our vision and mission statements to really take us into the future. So our plans for the future are pretty exciting, I think.
Awesome. So what are some of the big challenges that you feel like you're facing right now? Whether it's what's happening there specifically among the Salamta homes, even some of the challenges that the U.S. side of things that you guys are experiencing with the more difficulty, obviously, kind of going back and forth from there.
Yeah, so on the ground, there are definitely some challenges at the moment as it relates to health and geopolitical kind of situations that we're facing. I mentioned that there's a do not travel order right now, and that was primarily driven by a big bit of a COVID explosion that happened in Ethiopia. The CDC has determined that it's not advisable to travel there right now. We're seeing that begin to calm from some of the reports that I've seen recently, but there's also unrest that's happening. There's an election that is currently scheduled for June 5th, and there has been unrest in the north in a region called Tigray. There is also unrest kind of in the northwest area of Ethiopia. We're located in the capital city of Addis, and things are peaceful and calm for the most part there, but there are just a lot of concerns with the upcoming election and a lot of regional conflict. There's a dam that has been being constructed for the last 10 years, and they're about to use the summer rains to fill it. And when it's operational, it should be able to actually provide power to the entire country. But there's still a lot of negotiations happening between Ethiopia and Sudan and Egypt, because the Blue Nile originates in Ethiopia but flows north, and so flows through Sudan and Egypt. And so they're still negotiating all of the water rights that have to do with that. So there's just a lot of moving parts and pieces right now. Our kids were out of school for almost 8 months, but because of COVID, but as I mentioned, because of the virtual programming that we were able to put into place, our kids were able to continue a lot of their work, especially as it revolved around English, and being able to have the opportunity to practice and stay engaged. And through the virtual tools that we were able to provide, like hotspots, they were able to still receive their assignments. from their teachers and things like that. So they had huge advantages that other students did not, which we're grateful for. Grateful that we were able to provide those things. But there's just a lot of uncertainty right now as it relates to kind of where things are headed. And we're prayerful and we're hopeful that our kids don't get caught in the crossfire and that their futures aren't compromised because of some of the conflict. We're hoping for really peaceful resolution through all of this, especially as we walk into this election. But we just continue to pray and trust and continue to equip our kids the best that we can. We actually have a couple students who are accepted to U.S. University for next fall. So just things that are mind-blowing. I mean, when you think about where our kids came to us from, the conditions they came out of, the opportunities that are in front of them today are just absolutely extraordinary. And so we look forward to being able to receive more kids because we know what's possible, right? We're seeing the outcomes now after 15 years of raising our first generation of kids. And so we're just so hopeful and so confident in where we're able to go. We just need, again, the conditions around us to be favorable in order for all that to happen.
Now, I know that, a big concept with Salamta is this forever family. The idea that, you're not pairing a woman with children to essentially take care of those children for a period of time until they can embark on their own. But the idea is that relationship, lasts forever, right? That's that mom is always going to be mom. As the children are getting older, I mean, what happens in the home? Are these mothers actually, are you sort of backfilling as kids are going off to university and ultimately venturing out into adulthood? Or is this like this constant cycle? What does that look like for the family?
No, not at all. So just like, with our own families, we have children and they grow up and they move out eventually.
Sometimes.
It's a very similar for some. I don't know if that's your reality yet. But our families come together all at one time. So our families are established at one time and then they grow up together over time. And so when children launch out into independence, we don't just bring more kids in. We're not milling kids through the program, especially because, we're looking at, this isn't a short-term project. It's not like, oh, well, you're going to be in the home from age 3 to 11. And then when you hit puberty, you move into a hostel. Many family-based models kind of run that way, where a child kind of through those elementary years would be in a family home. And then when they get older, they move into more of a hostel kind of group home dormitory kind of thing. That isn't what we do at all. Our kids stay with us all the way through until they have completed their formal education, which for some is vocational training, for others it's university. Then they go on to get their first living wage job. We help them get established in that. We help them kind of move into their own place in the neighborhood. That's called our pre-launch program, where they're kind of getting on their feet until they can launch completely from the financial dependency of Salamta. And with that, some of our homes begin to contract a little bit. So move out of the house they needed for 10 only left and move into smaller accommodations. But our moms are going right over kids. So many of them have gone through literacy programs and business training and some basic education programs that they didn't have the opportunity to take advantage of when they were younger. And so they're looking forward to their futures too. All of us, as our kids grow up, those phases of life look different. And so the same is true with our Salamta moms. They have an opportunity to pursue their passions. And it's just been really exciting to watch our kids grow up. And some have gotten married and started their own families. And our Salamta families look just like a traditional family. Kids come home for the holidays. They celebrate together. These bonds, these relationships are genuine, and they will last throughout their lifetime. So that's been pretty incredible to watch, and to know that we have the opportunity to do it all over again and be able to serve even more kids going forward is pretty awesome. It's all God.
Wow, that's great. And I imagine at some point maybe you'll be able to support families who haven't been able to figure out how to get their kids out of the house. It sounds like we have a model here that is working.
Do you think that's translatable into Sanford, Maine?
Well, you can only hope,
Well,
right? I mean,
listen, I think it might be. And you know what's actually pretty cool, you guys, is in addition to our Forever Family program, we kind of took a look at everything. This last year and a half has really given us an opportunity to kind of revisit everything, right? And re-examine everything. I mentioned that we updated our vision and mission statements recently. And, our new vision statement says, our vision is children growing up knowing their God-given dignity and worth through the love of a healthy family. Our mission is that Salamta brings hope and healing to orphaned and abandoned children by recreating and empowering families. And so we've been very busy at the business of recreating family for the last 15 years, right? And now we're excited to take what we know to be true about how we recreate family, how we sustain these recreated families, and begin to empower other families. Because the trajectory of child welfare is to get kids out of institutions, right, and into families. And for some kids, it looks like our Forever Family program. But for many other kids, it looks like biological reunification. It looks like kinship care with extended family members, or it looks like domestic adoption. Domestic adoption is totally in its infancy in Ethiopia, and so it's something that's being developed right now. Well, we know that when we recreate family, the things that have made that so strong and so successful have been our wraparound care, the way that our professional team through our community center wraps around our families with support around education, health and wellness, psychosocial support, and spiritual development. And so we're exploring the opportunity of taking our community center model and replicating that in communities where there are high rates of biological reunification, kinship care, and domestic adoption. And we believe that that model could be replicable throughout Ethiopia, but outside of Ethiopia. So sure, Sanford could be an option.
Got that?
Totally be an option.
it's a whole new kind of rec center. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, Marisa, I mean, we're incredibly proud. Not surprised at what God's doing through your life, but just so proud. I'm glad to have you as a friend, and it's just absolutely amazing. So, thank you so much for those updates and just for what you're doing. But Brett, that's going to be a tough act to follow.
I do not have the statistics
You
about
don't.
Ethiopia
You do not.
down
All
that
right.
Marisa does. I'm just that's fair warning.
That's true. That's true. So Brett, like I had mentioned earlier, you served as our global outreach director, led that team. We're a big part of, helping kind of keep this thing going. And I know global outreach has been important to you as well. I think very specifically, you've had experiences in Nicaragua, and I remember just how much you loved going there. You loved taking people there, leading teams there, and it's been a while.
Funny thing, we were looking to go back last November, but we had to hold off because of some violence in Nicaragua, even before COVID. So as you track back, every year there was a unique reason why we couldn't go back. Since 2000, I think 2018 was the last time we were there with the Curtis Lake team, and it's heartbreaking in a lot of ways, but also it's encouraging because throughout, Curtis Lake has been a very constant presence through the organization that we work with there, CCRIN, which is a acronym that only works in Nicaragua. But it stands for, it's a Christian Center for Children, essentially. But if you spell that out, those letters don't work out in the English language.
No, we can't just make something up. I mean, you're usually pretty good at just coming up with stuff off the cuff.
I'm going to work on that one.
Okay.
So what's really cool, though, is throughout Curtis Lake, even though we're not there in person, Curtis Lake continues to be a daily presence for the children at CCRIN because we fund a lunch every day for these kids. So even though we haven't been there in going on 4 years, we know that the money that we send through global outreach here at Curtis Lake is feeding kids daily. And we know that it's a meal that they otherwise wouldn't get. So a lot of times they're going to CCRIN, which has really transitioned. When I started going to CCRIN back in 2006 or 2005, it was more of an orphanage setting. And now it's really only a permanent home for a handful of kids because the model has shifted because they realize the best home for children is really with their families, and who essentially were forced to give them to Sequin because they couldn't afford to have them at home. Now the model is, let's keep you at home, but let's bring you to Sequin during the day for meals and snacks and an education, and then go back with mom and dad, because mom and dad is where you need to be. And in Nicaragua, for so many years, the culture was, well, mom and dad can't afford to have another mouth to feed, so Sequin will take care of you. Go live at Sequin. So now that model is really shifted to become more of a day center for kids, but it is still a permanent home for a dozen or more kids as well who have violent homes or homes that really it's not safe for them to go home. But for those that it's safe to go to, I think over 100 kids now go to Sequin on a daily basis for education and meals and, you know, and spiritual nourishment and physical nourishment and all the things that make a community stronger. And it's really fun when you go down to Sequin because you just feel like you're at the end of the world, right? Because for us, when we go, we fly into Managua, which already feels like the end of the world. And then it's a bus ride to this coastal village on the edge of Lake Nicaragua. And then it's an hour-long ferry to a volcano in the middle of this. It feels like an ocean because Lake Nicaragua is one of the largest lakes in the world, full of sharks, huge waves. I mean, it's crazy. And it's this rickety old boat. And then you get there and it's another, it's a crazy drive through what you think is a rundown road. And then you really get to the rundown road. You're like this goat path that you're sending our vehicle down this goat path, and you realize that hundreds of families go down this every day to get to Sequin. And it's really awesome. It's just a great place that's very magical, very special to a lot of folks here at Curtis Lake who have been, but also very special to Hannah and I. My wife actually came to Nicaragua with me in 2007, I think. And so when we were newly dating, we actually were part of this trip through another church in Portland, and where we lived at the time. So Sequin is just a really special place that's having a very, very difficult chapter right now. But through it all, Curtis Lake is there, through global outreach, making a difference every single day.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, think of going back?
Yeah.
Yeah, taking the boys with you?
Gabe is going when he's 12. He's talked
really?
about this. Absolutely. Nice. Yep. So it's kind of this rite of passage that we've always talked about. When you're 12, I'll take you with me to Nicaragua. And it's something that we absolutely want to bring our boys there, let them see a new culture, let them, it's important that a kid realizes he lives in Disney World, because when to whom much is given, much is expected, right? And so we want to make sure that they have an understanding of how blessed they are, so they realize that they're called to bless others too. And it's hard to do that when you're, in the United States, right? But when you get out of your comfort zone, that's really when the layers get stripped away. I think Marisa will agree, right? When you go into another culture, another place, people see that for the first time, and you realize what unique opportunities we have to bless some other countries. Not to say that America is a better place, right? Because we never want to say that, because it's unique and different. Each culture is unique and different. But I do think that it allows us to appreciate other cultures through travel and going to see these places. But it also allows us to realize how uniquely blessed we are to bless other cultures in person or from the comfort, of our home by sending money, and financial support, which Marisa, I know, will agree is an important part of supporting ministries, right?
Well, I think it's important. Yeah, I definitely think it's important. But I think you're totally right, Brett. I mean, having the opportunity to travel, it is in itself is just such a massive blessing, right? Because a lot of the people that we are going to see and serve and meet and build relationships with, they don't have the same opportunity to leave their community that we do. And so just the opportunity to go and to build those relationships that become, really genuine if you let it happen. But don't tell your boys. The STAM rule is you have to be 10 to go to Ethiopia.
Fortunately,
So
we've had a
those standards,
pandemic and some other stuff, so I could have said 10, but he still wouldn't have been able to go till 12 when all the smoke is cleared anyway.
Well, Araceli's holding on for 10. So she's
nice.
going to be 8 next month, and she's all in for going to Ethiopia when she's 10.
Yeah.
And what about that, Marisa? I mean, that's kind of controversial for a lot of families, right? When they're like, no, that's too young. I say, as long as it's safe, I want them to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is a too young.
I can tell you, I mean, Luke and Lily, when they went, Luke, I had just started actually working for Salamta when Luke turned 10. It was 2014. And he couldn't wait to go because it had been a part of his life since he was 3. And he and Lily both have been 2 of the best travelers I've ever gone with, and they're just kids. And so they're just being kids, nothing, they weren't appalled by anything. They weren't, they were just receiving it all and building relationships with everybody that came across their path. And I think it's a beautiful opportunity if you can take your child and have that experience together. I think it's extraordinary. I would encourage, as long as you know that your kid is up for it and you can handle it, right, as a parent going to, but I think it's harder on adults, to be perfectly honest. We carry more baggage than kids do half the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. The person who's coming this Sunday as our guest, Doris, when I heard her speak recently, she was talking about, encouraging people, go on trips, and she was absolutely adamant about bring your kids. Mm-hmm. It would have to be really safe, I think, before Renee would let me, drag children of ours, off to some other part of the world. But
I know your kids though, and I think they'd be great.
They would,
and even Zach right now is 16, almost 16, and I just think that's prime time. It's prime time, right?
Hey, that's great that you brought that in.
Prime time. I just saw the logo. Yes, that's. I just think it's a great season of life to be able to do that before you start getting the influences of college debt and jobs and all these other, as Marisa said, baggage, to go before you got baggage is a great time to go. And so I've always loved having teenagers on our trip. When my niece lived with us and she was 15, I think, at the time, and she came with me to Nicaragua, she did awesome. I've always had at least 5 or 6 teenagers on every single trip, and I can't recommend highly enough. It's a perfect age for it. Yeah.
And we can't wait. It's been one of the biggest disappointments I think that we had over the last year. The fact that we can't travel, and trips had been planned that had to be canceled or delayed, and they're still like this. Well, when can it happen again? And we're thinking here, at Curtis Lake of wanting to just let's get something slated, let's get something scheduled, so we have something to at least look forward to. If we have to postpone it again, then we will. But hopefully we can be moving in that direction sooner than later. All right, so we're going to take a little break. I know we can't travel to Ethiopia, but we're going to kind of bring everybody there virtually as we go into this segment called Cooking with Patty and Mary. They're going to teach us how to make a dish and have a little Ethiopian coffee ceremony. I hope you enjoy it. Check it out. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Cooking with Patty and Mary cooking show. Over the next month, we're going to be looking at some different dishes inspired from around the world. And Patty and Mary are going to be kind of leading us in how to make all of these things. And I'm going to be, I'm just a laborer. So I'll be chopping and dicing things occasionally. And otherwise,
maybe critiquing and taste testing.
Maybe I'll definitely be taste testing. Yes. Yeah. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Today we are making the Ethiopian breakfast wrap.
It's a tortilla to start with, and it's literally just a little bit of flour, a little dash of salt, and then just enough boiling water to bring it to a dough consistency. So it's a very filling breakfast. It was surprisingly filling because it doesn't look like something that big. And for those who don't like eggs, you can take the tortilla and skip the egg part of it because the egg gets put on top, and you can serve it with Nutella. Spread the Nutella on there.
What about chocolate chips instead of the Nutella?
You know, there's not a lot of chocolate chips in Ethiopia, surprisingly enough.
But as long as
Not
we have
that
them
I've seen
here,
anyway. So as long as we have them here, I mean, we could pull out the chocolate chips. So part of the technique is just you're gonna roll it like three times. We'll start with half of this, and you're gonna roll it out with some oil under it. So I'm gonna do this right on the counter because I kind of want it to stick. Okay, I got a frying pan over here with some oil in it. We're just gonna pop this right in here. So we have our tortillas cooked. We're gonna take a same pan with a little bit of oil in it. We're gonna scramble up some eggs real quick. I mean, we're gonna not really scramble them, but kind of make an egg pancake out of it. They would ask you, do you want your egg with spice? Which means, do you want it with the really, really, really hot peppers? So I would go no spice. And then you can do the avocado and onion if you want it. You can kind of customize it however you want it. You roll it up and just eat it. All right, so we've got our egg right there. We're going to top it with a little, we're going to call it guacamole.
Okay.
Ethiopian
Pretty close.
guacamole. Good. Avocado and purple onion. And then we just roll it up. So I'm telling you what, that is a hearty breakfast right there.
Right.
Looks good.
So, and that's how they would serve it.
Mmm. Delicious.
Very good.
Mm.
So we just made our egg breakfast. In the evening, after dinner, they'll have coffee as a family together, and it's an entire coffee ceremony. So it's a process where they start with fresh green coffee beans. We don't see these very often here, but they start with fresh coffee beans, and usually one of the older children in the family will learn how to do the coffee ceremony as they grow up, and so they'll do that as kind of a way to serve their family as well. So we're gonna wash these. I have a pan of water here. We're just gonna dump them in, and Josh, we're gonna let you do some of this, but you just
Okay.
take it in your hand and do this with it.
All
Have
right.
another handful. Yeah,
Okay.
it's all good.
All right. We'll all put our hands in this.
We will. Well,
Wash,
we're gonna rinse them off a little bit.
wash the beans.
The cleansing.
Yeah. That's how you do things in the food business. I feel like I'm getting some on the floor.
Yeah.
But we can just throw those back in because we're washing them.
This one was on the counter that I threw back in.
Oh,
How's
okay.
that?
Radical
Okay,
washing
yeah, that's a good
here.
idea. So Josh is gonna wash those up a little bit. We're gonna rinse them off.
These do not smell like coffee.
No, they don't. They will in a minute.
Oh, okay.
So once they are washed, then we're gonna roast them. And they have these little wood coal stoves, and they'll put it right on the floor in the living room. They have a whole mat thing. It's a whole little setup. They have a little stool that they sit on, and they roast it right there on the floor in the living room. And it's beautiful. It's an amazing thing. They have a little pan that they'll roast them in, or sometimes it's just a flat piece of metal and a little scraper, and they roast them, and the room just fills with the smell of this coffee. Once they're done, they'll pass it around and let you kind of waft in the scent of the roasted coffee. So, and then we're gonna make some coffee in our Boona pot. So,
Oh. Now you say ceremony.
yeah.
Is there something in particular that they're celebrating, commemorating, honoring? Mary, do you want to put your hands in this water?
Why not? Why
Of
not?
course.
I'm gonna do this too.
So it's when they have company, visitors come in the evening, so it's something that they do after dinner, and each person will get 3 cups of coffee. And there's a significance to each cup of coffee in a meeting, kind of like a blessing that goes with that. This is what we're gifting you with, sort of thing. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not a coffee drinker. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life.
Are you willing to try a cup
I'm
of
willing to
coffee?
try it, but I mean, how do I fit into Ethiopian culture as a non-coffee drinker? It sounds like it's pretty important.
So also coffee is like this coffee is going to be very, very strong.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
There's going to be sugar in it, so it's going to be sweet.
Okay.
And no milk or cream or anything like that.
Oh.
And I've been over there with people that are not coffee drinkers or not strong coffee drinkers, not like I need to have milk in my coffee, and they try it, and I don't think anyone's turned it down yet. So it's a gift right there. We're gonna just go rinse these off a little bit.
All right. Coffee beans are roasted.
You did a beautiful job.
Thank
they
you.
smell amazing. They're gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Now what?
We need ground, Josh. You take
They
care
are
of that for
brown.
us. Ground.
Ground.
You know how you grind coffee beans?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't know how you grind coffee
Well,
beans.
in Ethiopia, they have a special way of grinding coffee beans. We'll
Okay,
show you.
sweet.
Okay, so our coffee's been sitting for a few minutes. We're gonna go and I'm gonna pour for you. Oh, it looks really good. I've already got the sugar in there. These girls over there that do this are professionals.
You mean they don't spill it all over the counter?
That's really what I meant, yeah.
Okay. Good thing we're not paying for this, huh, Mary?
Yeah. Oh man.
I feel like I see some grinds in there as well. All right.
I blame the coffee grinder. Just saying.
Thank you.
For the record, Josh's very first cup of coffee ever, and it came out of an Ethiopian boom pot.
Ooh.
You're gonna want that sugar
History
in
in the
there.
making right now, people.
That's right.
Cheers.
Tastes like coffee. No, I could see. I could see if you liked coffee, how that would be delicious.
I think they normally serve it sweeter too. I tend to not put a lot of sugar in.
It's actually not. It's pretty sweet.
It's fairly mild tasting.
Really?
Real. I don't think like very bitter.
Ah, yeah.
No,
I
it's
feel like
not
I want to
bitter.
brush my
Yeah,
teeth now.
yeah, very
No.
impressive.
That's one thing I like about the Ethiopian coffee. It's not bitter.
Well, I mean, it was roasted to perfection.
It was,
So
and that
that's-
does make a big difference.
Right. All right.
Great way to start a day. Great way to end a day, right there.
I
So-
think I could do 3 cups. Could you do 3 cups?
I could. I'm all set with my 1 cup. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are you supposed to do during the course of those 3 cups? Everybody's just kind of talking.
You're
hanging-
just talking,
being with each other.
visiting.
Yeah.
They usually serve popcorn with it too, so you have popcorn going around the room with your coffee.
Okay. Well, can we do this all over again? Because I love popcorn.
It's going to take a little while to grind some more coffee and roast it all and all
Okay.
of that. So if you're up for
All right.
that,
Rain
I'm
check
game.
on the popcorn.
I'm game, but yeah, they'd serve popcorn and coffee in the evening after dinner.
Mhm.
It's a great family time.
I like it.
I love it. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So hopefully, maybe take advantage of some of those recipes there.
Yeah, no, I know. I enjoyed watching your demonstration in the backyard. Crisscross applesauce is how we
Yes.
say that now.
Yeah.
Listen,
That was fantastic.
for this to be legitimate, you really should have had like a piece of rebar crushing the coffee. Because that's the standard tool.
I've heard that.
In the tin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably would have been
for
more
sure.
effective
But
too.
you have come a long way, Josh Parison. I am very proud of you.
Yeah. Wait till this one wasn't bad. I mean, the egg wrap was actually, it was delicious. It really was. I would make that.
It
The
is
coffee, I
delicious.
probably wouldn't.
Somebody brought popcorn though.
Yes, we got the popcorn now. So,
Is it Ethiopian popcorn though?
Ah,
I really don't know how to tell what makes it
Well,
Ethiopian.
Salam
because
alaikum.
Ethiopian popcorn, it's cooked in oil on the
It is not.
stovetop, cooked in oil with a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar.
Okay. Yeah. No,
It's
this
the
is
best.
rather tasteless, actually.
yeah, this is definitely diet popcorn,
But it's
which
still
is
popcorn.
perfect for me right now.
Yes, it works for me as well. So, all right. Well, we're just about out of time here. So I want to thank our guests, Brett and Marisa, for joining us. Thank you all who are out there listening in. Hopefully, we'll have you chime in again next Wednesday night, 8:00, when we do Curtis Lake Prime Time again. Marisa, any closing comments for your old friends up here in Sanford, Maine?
We're just so grateful for you guys. I mean, you have been walking with Salamta since global outreach started way back in 2010, and you've been with Salamta for such a long time. And we're just so grateful for the support, not just the financial support, but the prayer support and the encouragement. And I don't believe that we'd be where we are if we didn't have all of our friends from Maine and from Curtis Lake specifically, who have just been with us and been with me personally on this journey. So just so grateful for you guys. Cannot wait to get back up there, hopefully soon. We'll see what the summer brings, but would love to get you guys back over to Ethiopia as soon as that is humanly possible. So we're working on it. We'll keep you posted. And please,
Awesome.
you guys, please pray for the kids that are going to be coming to us this summer. We're still working out all the details with that and pulling together the resources. And if anyone would like more information about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to talk to you about the opportunities we have with that.
That's great. Wow. Thanks so much. So you think there might be a STAM sighting up in the Maine region this summer? Possibility for that?
Maybe,
Right.
you never know. Maybe all five. That would be my favorite option.
I
if it
do
was
seem to
five
miss
stamps.
Aaron practically every time you come up here. So, yeah, see if you can get him up here.
I know he needs to get up there. He misses everybody too. So
Yeah, great. Well, God bless you and your family. Just pray that you continue these great things that you guys are all doing. So, and Brett, thank you so much for joining us.
My
This
pleasure.
has been
No,
fun.
this has been a lovely. Gosh, it took me 6 minutes to drive here tonight, and so that's a long haul.
Yeah.
That's a long haul,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to make it for this podcast.
Yeah.
This is my old office.
It is your
Prime
old
time. I love what you've done with the place.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it smells better up here too than it.
funny
did.
thing. Funny thing. Go move along.
That's probably a great place
I'm
to
gonna
end.
go off the rails if you
That's
allow
right,
it.
yeah.
So, like it's an invitation.
Yeah. Well,
Bring the plane over this way. I'm not bringing the plane that way right now, Josh. But I do thank you for having me on this inaugural episode tonight.
Yeah.
And
we'll definitely do it again.
Marisa, really good to see you this way as well. And we'll see, I do hope to see you up here and Luke's mullet up here in Maine.
Yeah. Maybe you could do the same thing.
I'm pretty certain that won't happen.
Probably not. Yeah.
No.
Probably not. All right. Well, thanks so much to everybody. Thank you to Shayna over in the back room who's been putting this all together tonight.
12 points, Shayna.
Do we have a picture of Shayna we could put up on the
Let
screen?
me see. I can turn it.
I don't think we do. So, all right. So we're just going to sign off. I have no idea how to do that except to say goodbye and good night.
Roll the credits.
Roll the credits. All right. So we'll see you next Wednesday.
Do we have credits?
I don't know. I don't think so.